Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. After finishing chapter 5 in the Scarlet Letter, Hester and her needle, and I summed up some questions at the end of the last video. You might have noticed they summarize the whole chapter. The role of Hester, her job, how did she get her living, and how did the society perceive and confront Hester after her crime. So all these have been discussed in chapter 5. Now we move to chapter 6, Pearl, a new character. Just to give you an idea about this character or symbol, some scholars argue that Pearl is more like a symbol, not a character. So we are to read Pearl as a character and as a symbol, as far as she's gonna play a significant role in this novel. So it's important to read Pearl as a symbol, because she is a symbol of shame, as you noticed, as she has always been carried by Hester, and Hester held her strongly to her chest, and it became just like an equivalent to the Scarlet Letter. So she has two marks of shame: the Scarlet Letter and Hester, which reveal what Hester has done. The writer has given us a few characters so far. He has explained the character of Demasdale in the first two chapters, the second and third chapter. Then he has been highlighting and developing the character of Hester ever since chapter 2. We've been given an idea about Chillingworth, who he is, what did he do, how he came to be like this, how about his own origins and his own past. So we have all these information so far, and now we are, as far as Paul has grown a little bit older. The reader need to get more information about Pearl and her role, her identity, her character, the way she acts, the way she behaves. So the writer has dedicated this chapter 6, to Pearl. So the previous point that I have summarized in this chapter is that this chapter gives us a close look into the character of Pearl, the psychological and physical appearance of Pearl. Um, he showed why she has this name, Pearl. You know, Pearl means Lulu, and Lulu is very expensive. So it echoes the price Hester has paid. That means that Pearl, when came to existence, when came to this life, a very huge price has been given in uh, um, because she came. Hester lost her reputation, her um, standpoint in the society. She lost a lot in this society. So Hester came at a very expensive price. The writer here highlights how Puritans behave towards Hester, and how God behaves toward Hester. Hester has been given a jewel, a pearl, by God, from God, while the Puritans has given her all the nasty and bad words and um, negative viewpoints. Um, Puritans consider pearl as a symbol of sin, and they never allow their children to interact or play with pearl. She is banned from being dealt with. These are the main points that the chapter, and we have some other notes about the character of Pelin, because she started talking and indicating and referring to certain things. So the chapter begins with Hawthorne stating, "We have as yet hardly spoken of the infant, that the little creature whose innocent life had sprung, innocent life." Then here he refers. I just underlined some words because some of you might get confused reading these lines. But she named the infant Pearl as being of great price, purchased with all she had, her mother's only treasure. The only treasure, it means the reputation that Hester had. How strange indeed man had marked this woman's sin by a scarlet letter, which had such potent and disastrous efficacy that no human sympathy could reach her, save it were sinful, like herself. These kind of quotations refer to distant and further meanings when we come to interpret. So this highlights the importance of Pearl as a character and as a symbol at the same time. Um, God, as a direct consequence of the sin which man thus punished, had given her a lovely child. So Pearl is being given to Hester by God as just like a present or a gift, whose place was on the same dishonored bosom to connect her parent forever with the race and descent of mortals and to be finally blessed soul in heaven. And then the writer refers to um, how Puritans behaved towards Hester. They treated her badly. They consider her as a shame. They consider the Scarlet Letter as a something bad. So this is how God um, responded towards Hester, and how Puritans respond towards Hester. I'd like you to pay attention to the way Puritans, or to the way the writer treats Hester Prynne, because yani, every now and then he tries to show Hester as an innocent person, and he tries to attract and let's say earn our attention and our sympathy towards Hester. So we need to be careful. We need to be just in deciding in this whole issue. The other point is a reference to the character of Hester, Pearl itself. Um, Certainly, there was no physical defects. Now we are talking about Pearl. By its perfect shape, its vigor, and its natural dexterity in the use of all its untried limbs, the infant was worthy to have been brought forth in Eden. يعني كانت تستاهل إنه تولد بالجنة عدن, not on earth. Worthy to have been left there to be the plaything of the angels after the world's first parents were driven out. The child had a native grace which does not invariably coexist with faultless beauty. Its attire, the way she dresses, because her mother is a seamstress and she never spared efforts to sew and adorn and embroider the clothes that Pearl used to wear. So she used to show Pearl in a very decorative way in terms of her clothes. But little Pearl was not clad in rustic weeds. Her mother, with a morbid purpose that may be better understood hereafter, had brought the richest tissues, the best fabrics of clothes are brought by Hester, and so that she used to sew them as clothes for Pearl. Um, the other point is in this one child, there were many children, comprehending the full scope between the wildflower prettiness of a peasant baby and the pomp in a little infant princess. So, Pearl was a mixture of a lot of things, of many things. So, she is not a normal child, just like everybody else. She is something different. The child could not be made amenable to rules. Look at this sentence. The writer wants to tell us something about the character um, of Pearl. I underline these lines, but I don't know why it does not appear on my phone. The child could not be made amenable to rules. Yani, Pearl is not easy to follow rules. She is somehow revolutionary. She somehow um, rebels تثور ضد الrules and concepts. So in giving her existence, a great law had been broken, because she was a result of breaking the law. يعني وجودها أصلا هو the law has been broken because she came through adultery. So she is not easy to follow rules. She has such a kind of a revolutionary spirit. And the result was being whose elements were perhaps beautiful and brilliant, but all in disorder or with an order peculiar to themselves, amidst which the point of variety and arrangements. So this is some information about the character of um Pearl.